Hey, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is Jonathan Kios, job coach and agency linkage specialist from Yosemite Monarch Charter Schools, and you're listening to your Transition Podcast. I am joined by my wonderful co host, Blake Wright.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a very special treat. We have a special guest for you today, our very own Dr. James. Dr. James, welcome.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
We are so excited to start this year off the right way. As our listeners know, Dr. James is one of our favorite individuals to talk to. He has just a wealth of knowledge, amazing stories. You got to get ready. He has so much advice to give. And today, he's been, despite having a busy schedule, he's been kind enough to stop by and talk to us about SMART goals. Also, we thought it would be helpful to our students, our families, our alumni, and our staff to hear from someone who is not only an organized leader, but a visionary and knows what it means to lay out SMART goals.
I agree, Jonathan. Completely. And honestly, what would our school even look like today without leaders like Dr. James here establishing, SMART goals and stuff for our community, for our school, our students, and our families.
Right. And what would that look like? I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep anyone waiting. We want to give Dr. James the floor and as much time that he needs, so we can all learn from him. So, Blake, what do you think? Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get going.
Okay, all right. So let's hit the ground running.
Sweet. If you don't mind, I'll ask the first one and just kind of kick us off. Dr. James, thank you again so much for being here. And I kind of just want to start us off. Simple question. What is a SMART goal? What does that stand for?
Well, SMART goal is a process, right? Because whenever we want to set goals, there needs to be a process to follow. If you just kind of start something and you really don't know what that process is going to be, in most cases, you're never going to attain that goal, correct? You're just going to be just twirling in the wind, as they might say. And so the SMART goal is an acronym, okay? Each letter meaning something. And so first off is specific, right? So when we're writing a goal, we want to be specific about what we want to attain, right? Do we want students to, get to proficiency or be advanced in, say, mathematics or English language arts or something along those lines? In everyday world, in the business world, it could be something in how, specific you want to be in sales or anything of that nature, or in your own personal life. If you're making your own personal goals, right? Again, you want to be really specific on what you want to do with that goal, okay? Then it needs to be measurable, right? So again, you have this specificity. I'm having trouble with the word specificity and today, but again, it needs to be measurable. So let's say, for instance, you make a personal goal about weight training, right? So as you're doing this personal goal, right, and you're in there and you're doing your weight training, you want to keep track, right? You want to be measuring those gains to see if what you're doing is correct, right? Are those avenues that you're taking getting you moving forward with your goals? Or in education, again, it's data that we're looking at, right? Same kind of thing, just in a different way. We're looking at all the numbers, seeing how kids are progressing. Are they, are their reading levels getting where they need to be? Are they not? So again, even though you start a SMART goal, as you're moving through that process, you might need to change the specific actual piece of that goal to make sure you're going to get to where you want to be, because that's the second, part there being measurable. The third part's attainable, right? So it's, again, going back to what people might know in personal life and weight training, one of my favorite things, is it attainable? I'm 62 years old now. Am I going to try to attain a goal like I was when I was in my 20s of bench pressing over 500 pounds that I did reach? But that is not attainable, right? at this time of my life? So is it something that we can get to? So again, same thing in education. You're looking at the data. If you're writing a goal and you want your students to have these gains in mathematics and in English, what does that look like? What's attainable? We can't say 100% of our kids are going to attain this goal, right? What are those percentages that we truly believe are attainable with the resources that we have, right? So we document that piece. Then the next part kind of gets into, is this goal really relevant? And the other part of it, the R, is it results, right? Are we getting the results? What is this going to be like? Because again, we don't want to be saying that, when I was a kid, kids took algebra in 10th, 11th grade, so if we were trying to use those same measures from back when I was a kid to the measures we're doing today, because now algebra is a 7th or 8th grade goal, right? So you really got to make sure they're relevant and you can provide those results that need to be, that you're trying to measure. And then of course, you need to have that finish line. That's the T, time bound. I always call it my finish line. So when you get to whatever that piece is, so let's say the weight goal, training goal was to in 3 months, from today. So when I got there, where am I? Okay. And same thing with the data. Maybe we're going to look at it quarterly, going to look at it at each semester. So, identify that time frame. It could be an entire year if you want. It just depends on what you want to do, but you need to identify all areas of this acronym. Okay?
I love that, Dr. James. You said something that kind of stuck out to me, and that is that these SMART goals, they need to be assessed in that they are fluid, and they require adaptability. May have been easier for some of us in our 20s to shed that, New Year's weight. It was easier in the 20s versus like 40s, 50s, and I definitely can relate to that. So I love that. Why are SMART goals important?
Because again, you have to have a goal for one, right? Because people always talk about like, I have a goal to do this, I have a goal to do that. And then you ask them, so what have you done to meet that goal? What have you put in place to meet that goal? And they kind of give you that deer in the headlights look, right? So again, if you don't have this goal and it's not written in a SMART goal format, it's nearly impossible to reach. You need to really see that. It's kind of like my daughter, for instance. She's an avid reader, right? And I used to walk into her room when she was in her 20s, and she has reading lists posted around her room, and those were her goals, right? She would see that, and these were the books that I want to read for the year, these 25 books. And so if it's not written down, it's not accessible to you to see, are you truly going to meet that goal? Because again, you kind of brought up, Jonathan, about, losing that weight, going into 2023, right? Each year in January is probably the number one goal that people set for themselves, right? But then they'll reach it. Okay, I'm going to lose 10 or 15 pounds. But where's the plan for after that? So now I'm in my skinny jeans, but now I have not changed my habits at all. So what's going to happen is that goal is going to be realized maybe during that first few months. But how about going into 2024? Is that going to be your same goal again each year? Because you don't have those measurable pieces. It's not written for you to come back and really look at the plan that you've made for yourself and how you can go back and make sure that, okay, you've taken the weight off. Now I want to keep it off forever, right? And this is the type of thing that a SMART goal will do. In education, the same thing. If we don't have it written down and we don't look at it, we don't talk about it, is it truly going to happen? I mean, how many trainings have all of us been to in our lives where they give us the cool binder, right? It's got all that cool stuff. We go in there, we learn all this stuff during that week. We start kind of putting things together. Then we put that binder on the shelf where it looks beautiful and we never go back to it. Are we really going to remember and attain those things and those goals that we set for ourselves during that training? Most likely not.
So true. Blake, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, looking beyond just the accomplishment of the goal and just trying to um, implement that, throughout the rest of your life. And speaking of implementing things, I know you mentioned one thing, Dr. James, with your daughter, writing things down like a reading list, and writing things down in general, and planning things out. Are there other ways, good ways to implement a SMART goal, that you could share with us?
Well, again, it's one of those things where when we look at SMART goals, it's a process that we should all use, but it's also, there's other ways that you can be doing things as well, that would be considered a SMART goal. You don't have to have it all broken down into these 5 parts, but the implementation piece, when you're looking at things, because one of the key parts of implementation is the relevancy piece. Could also be, you could look at almost like realistic, right? So you say, okay, I'm going to lose 3 pounds in the next 3 months. Is that really a relevant goal when you look at it, and when you're looking at things, and so if you attain things quickly, then you reevaluate, right? And that's the biggest part of like SMART goals, is you're always reevaluating, you're always reassessing, reanalyzing what you're doing. And this is what kind of gets that mindset going, is that, okay, I need to have these goals, I need to write them down. But again, this is not a 2-year goal, a 3-year goal, a 4-year goal. It's all about analysis and reanalysis. And that's what we do in education, what we should be doing in life. That's what they're always doing in business, right? And we look at it and there seem to always, reassess, reanalyze, a month before Christmas, and decide that we need to lay people off, and they use stuff, and this is their data that they're looking at, because their bottom line, they're not meeting it, and so again, it doesn't have to be just in this format. It can be in many other forms, and take on many other names, but again, it's you got to have that starting point, and that's what a SMART goal does. And then you can morph it into whatever you would like it to be, as long as you're reaching those same goals.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's a reminder, I'm sure, not only for our listeners, but for the staff who are listening, that you can have those goals and reassess them. It's a very fluid process. So thank you for that reminder, because I know many of us kind of get in that fixed mindset where that's a goal, and it's like you can go to the drawing board. What I take from that is you can go to the drawing board all the time, or any time. Your goals don't have to be fixed. Just kind of a follow-up question. So how versatile is a SMART goal? Are SMART goals best for just school? Are they best for work? Are they best for daily life?
Well, I think you're normally going to see something in this format in education, and possibly in the business world, under probably a different acronym, most likely, depending on what their goals for their companies are, and what type of company they might be. Personally, I think we would look at a SMART goal as long as you're writing it down, giving yourself those timelines, and making it realistic, right? Would be, it would be really the same thing. But also, SMART goals, even in education, have morphed over the years. And to the point where, when I have SMART goals, I use something that's this acronym, but I've added a small e to it, small letter E. And it wasn't what I did to do so, but they allowed me. I'm sorry, I got my delivery of my Diet Dr. Pepper, so I had to take it.
Those are the necessities. No need to apologize. Those are not wants. Those are needs.
Exactly. So I apologize for the stop, but I didn't invent the small e, but I've put it into my work. And for me, the E meant everyone. So back in the day when we would write SMART goals, we would say, okay, 6 or 7% of our student population is going to reach proficiency, in, say, mathematics. So if we get this 6%, what about the other 94? What's our goal for them? Right? And so we'll write a goal then, a SMART goal or goals that will say, okay, this certain part of that population, they're going to move from this grade band to that band, right? From this band. So they might be down in, say, basic back in the old days. And now we're going to get them moved up just into some, that part of that goal. So you're identifying all students, right? And as we know, in the special ed world, our kids get kind of left out a lot of times, of this piece. And so we're identifying everyone. Some other folks have taken the small e to be equity, right? So access for all kids, in these programs, and writing SMART goals along those lines. So there's a lot of things that they've morphed the SMART goals into in the educational world, because many of us educators really started to say, okay, it's a great goal, getting your kids to this level, but we need to have all of our kids moving in the right direction, right? And so it's okay if a student is maybe not doing well, maybe like in our Star 360 data, maybe they're in the red, right? And we want to get them up, eventually to the blue someday, possibly those higher levels. But we know it's not a realistic goal for those kids to go from the red area to the blue, right? So we write a goal to where they might move from red to orange, move into that next band, and so that they are showing progress. So we're not forgetting about that other 94% of our population. So that's how the goals have morphed over the years, and that's how they've been used. Because again, in the business world, if you get your business, you don't only want to be working with and helping 6% of your, of those folks that are, your clients. You want to make sure all of them are getting, the help that they need and the assistance from you, because in that world, they might just go somewhere else if they don't feel like they're getting their needs met, right? So it's the same thing in education. We have to look at it that we got to move all of our kids to those next levels. And SMART goals are a wonderful thing, but sometimes we got to remember, we've got to have that small e so that we're including everyone. All right.
Awesome. I love that. I love the idea of the small e. I feel like this should just be a part of the SMART goals in general. I love that. That's amazing. I'm gonna have to implement that too in a lot of areas that I do. So we've heard a couple stories already a little bit, and so I was just kind of curious, do you have any other stories, Dr. James, how you've used the SMART goal or how it's helped you accomplish anything, maybe benching that 500 pounds when you're younger or anything like that? How has the SMART goals helped you?
Well, back in my police days, we wouldn't have called it a SMART goal, but if I had certain things happening on my beat, it was my job to come up with a plan to hopefully squash that problem. So you're looking at your data again. So you look at this piece of it, right? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm having all these burglaries, and it seems to be in areas where there's alleys, right off the alleys. So what can I do, right, to alleviate that problem? But if I'm just driving my police car through there all the time, maybe that's not going to work. But if I just wear plain clothes and a baseball hat, and my partner and I, we jump on a bike and we look like surfer dudes riding through an alley somewhere, people aren't going to think twice about continuing that bad behavior that they're by burglarizing other folks' homes, so that we could catch them in the act, right? Doing things like that. So even though they're not called SMART goals in, say, the police world, you have a plan, you're coming up with it, and you're trying to get to where you need to be. And you're always, time bound's always like, you need to take care of this now. We got a lot of people breathing down our necks saying, you need to fix this problem. So in every aspect, I think, of life, we and the profession that you've chosen, there are those SMART goals out there. It's just similar to, when I was in the military, we get called in, hey, we got to go to the motor pool today. We got to change what the camouflage looks like on our Jeeps, because now we need to change for more of that green, kind of, warfare piece where we're going to be down in South America to more of a desert piece because of what's going on in, back in those days in Iran and Iraq and pieces like that. So, again, you're looking at those things, and it's not just all of a sudden someone decided they wanted to paint those Jeeps a different color. We need something for the troops to do. They looked at a plan, they had a plan, or in case we needed to move forward in that area, that we would be ready to do so. Because when you're out in the middle of the desert, you don't want a Jeep that's painted camouflage green, right? So it's not going to help you out too much. So I think in all of the world, that when we're looking at, again, they might not be using the same acronym, but they do have a plan that's aligned around this. And in most worlds, you might hear referred to as an action plan, right? This is the action plan that we're going to use, right? And in an action plan, you have all of these specificities within it. And please, someone help me with the word specificity, because I'm struggling with it today.
I don't think I'm going to be able to help you with that one. That's a tough one.
I'll make that one of my SMART goals.
Have the parts of each of these, aspects of a SMART goal, right?
I love it. Every time we interview you, there's just like a wealth of information. I'm just like taking it all in. Okay, so we always have to throw in, Dr. James, like just a fun question. This is actually our last question. So we're talking about setting goals. And so it's a new year. It would be a shame for us not to ask if you have any resolutions for 2023.
Well, it's like, my thing is weight training is what my life was built around, other than family life and stuff like that. I don't want to sound crass, especially with the younger folks, but it's kind of my drug of choice. If someone asks me, do you want to go and have an adult beverage, or do you want to go work out? I choose workout. Something that I just truly love to do. So I made some new goals for myself, this year, to where I'm been back in the gym 3 or 4 days a week, now, and I'm not hitting them hard, heavy, just hitting them hard, light, and lots of reps, and trying to get cut up. My goal for the end of the year would be that, I'm back to that look I was when I was 25, before I got massive in the weight training world, so that's my goal. Like I said, I love it. And I was making way too many excuses on why I couldn't get to the gym. But now it's like I said, I got my own goals. I keep track of everything. While I'm in the gym, there's an app for that these days, of course, and I keep track of it and do what I need to do so I can get to where I need to be. So that was my 2023, is get back in the gym and take care of business and quit making excuses while you're not there.
I love it. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Dr. James. I know we kind of put you on the spot with that one, but that's really appreciate you sharing your resolutions. Yeah, and just honestly, just for sharing and spending your time here with us today. It's always so much fun having you here, and being able to dip into that wealth of knowledge that you have. It's always such an amazing time just hearing all the things that you have to say. And we're all, I know, especially the transition team specifically, I know we're all such huge fans of all your stories. And we learn so much every time that we have the chance to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Hey, anytime, guys. Pleasure to be here.
I second that, Dr. James. Thank you again. And, it's always such a big treat to, when you share. And speaking of treats, we have a resource for our listeners before we sign off today. It's yourtherapysource.com, and Blake will go ahead and put it in the description. And it has more information on SMART goals, as well as printables. It has videos. It even has, I think, on there like a goal tracker for those who are visual. So we'll be putting the link up today. Lastly, it's so great to be back, and we look forward to hearing our students crush those goals, those SMART goals, right, in 2023. And we just want to thank you for tuning in to Your Pace podcast today, and we will see you on the next one.
All right, take care, guys.